Welcome to this deep dive, crafted just for you, the learner. Today we're looking at something pretty fundamental, I think. It's about the stories we tell ourselves, specifically about our past.
Right, and how those stories aren't just sitting there. They're active.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You brought up this idea that our memories aren't like fixed records, but more like, well, like glasses we wear.
Yeah, glasses of time. They color how we see everything right now, our relationships, the world.
So our goal today is to kind of unpack how these glasses work, and maybe, just maybe, see if we can try on a different pair.
I love that image, the glasses of time. It immediately makes you think, doesn't it? What am I not seeing because of these lenses I've got on?
Right. It suggests the past isn't just a movie playing back.
No, it's something we're actively interpreting constantly, moment by moment, really.
Absolutely. Think about a specific moment, one that sort of replays in your mind, something significant from your past.
Okay.
We looked at this example. A child seeing their mother leaving with a suitcase over and over.
That repetition.
That image, it isn't just stored away, it becomes a filter, a way of seeing that person, you know?
A filter for everything that comes after, with them.
Yeah. So, the learner, maybe think about it like this. When you have a strong reaction to something familiar, pause for a second.
Ask yourself.
Am I reacting to this moment, right here, right now? Or am I seeing it through those old glasses, tinted by the past?
That pause, that's where the insight can happen.
And those moments, those really ingrained ones, they tend to solidify, don't they? They feel like the absolute truth.
Oh, for sure. In that suitcase example, the child might just decide she always chose work over us. It feels totally solid, unshakable.
But what's key here, I think, is realizing how those feelings, maybe unresolved feelings from back then,
Yeah.
they actively sort of hijack our present, our responses right now.
Hijack is a good word. And just recognizing that hijacking, that's a huge first step, isn't it, towards getting back in the driver's seat?
It makes you question those truths you hold. Are they really the whole story?
Probably not. And it's interesting how they even form. As kids, we're just trying to make sense of things, right? With limited tools.
Totally. A parent leaving a lot, maybe for work, a simple explanation like, oh, they just don't care enough, well, kind of helps a kid feel like they understand.
It imposes some kind of order on something confusing, maybe scary.
And here's the kicker. Those simple explanations, born from a kid's view,
They stick.
they become these deep blueprints, and they don't just affect how we see that one person.
No, they stretch out. That feeling of, say, a distant parent, it can totally shape how you approach trust, intimacy later on in completely different relationships.
It really brings up that Gestalt concept, doesn't it? Unfinished business.
Exactly. That suitcase image, perfect example. An experience not fully processed, still influencing us now.
Still coloring things.
And the weight of that unfinished stuff, it's real. And often because it's uncomfortable.
We cling harder to the story.
Right. She always put work first.
Yeah.
It becomes a kind of shield.
Okay, let's talk about that shield. Protection. These stories, they protect us from feeling vulnerable, maybe? From the messiness of not knowing?
Definitely. Saying, I know why she did that, feels way safer than admitting I actually have no idea, or it's complicated.
But that safety, that defense,
Yeah.
it can turn into a trap, a kind of prison built from our own certainties.
It walls us off from maybe seeing something new, from connecting differently, recognizing when that protection becomes imprisonment. That's key.
Yeah, it raises this whole question about the illusion of certainty.
When we say, I know why, is that really a fact? Or is it just reinforcing a belief we built, maybe built a long, long time ago,
To cope.
to make sense of it all back then?
So here's a challenge, maybe, for you, the learner. Think of a defining moment from your past.
Okay, got one.
Now try.
Okay.
Try to peel back the layers, all the interpretation, the assumptions, the feelings you've wrapped around it since then.
What's left? Just the bare facts. What actually indisputably happened?
It's a tough exercise, but powerful.
Yeah.
Separating the event from the story about the event.
And then, bam, the focus shifts. Right here. Now.
This moment, where you are, what you're feeling right now, contrast that with the memory you just pulled up.
That memory, however real it feels, it's happening now, inside your mind. But wow, the power it still holds.
Makes you think about memories differently. Not as fixed facts, but maybe as invitations.
Invitations, how so?
Well, instead of the finality of, I know why she did it, what if you approached it with curiosity? Like, I wonder what else might have been true.
Oh, that's a huge shift, I know, versus, I wonder.
One shuts the door, right? Locks it.
And the other just cracks it open. It's a possibility. to different angles.
And then you have to ask yourself, who benefits from me holding on to this particular negative story?
Is it actually serving me now? Or is it holding me back? From connection, maybe, from compassion.
It's that reminder, isn't it? We're the storytellers. We hold the pen.
We can revise. We can edit our relationship to the past.
Okay, so we've seen how these glasses get formed. Now let's dig into what happens when we hold on to them too tightly. This idea of the prison of our truths.
Right. It links to this concept called the cycle of experience.
Okay.
Think about that mother leaving again. Maybe the first feeling is sadness, just pure sadness.
Makes sense.
But what if that sadness isn't allowed, isn't fully felt or expressed?
Yeah.
The cycle gets interrupted.
And that leaves something behind.
Yeah, like an emotional residue. And that residue doesn't just sit there, it hardens into patterns.
Patterns like?
Avoidance, maybe? Steering clear of anything that feels similar. Or projection, seeing our own stuff in other people. And defenses. Lots of defenses.
Avoidance feels safer sometimes, doesn't it? Just don't go near the pain.
Seems like it. But the unprocessed stuff, it just festers, you know? And it leaks out. You end up reacting to your partner now as if they are that parent from the past.
Oof. Yeah. And the defenses. Like projection in the suitcase example.
That could be assuming you know exactly why she left. She didn't care about me. Projecting that feeling of being unloved onto her motives.
Or rationalization. Making logical excuses.
Like, well, she had to work hard to provide. Which might be true, but it neatly sidesteps the feeling of her absence, the emotional hit.
And denial. The classic, it's fine, didn't bother me.
When really underneath it hurt like hell.
And then there's intellectualizing it all.
Right. Analyzing it. Oh, it's a common pattern for children in this situation to feel detached, not actually feeling your own experience of it.
These defenses, they served a purpose once, maybe.
For survival, yeah. But they can become so automatic, so habitual, they block real connection, real growth.
There's this line, the body remembers what the mind forgets. It really hit me.
It's powerful, isn't it? You think you're over something logically, but then you feel that knot in your stomach, or your throat tightens up.
When that memory comes up or something similar happens.
Those are messages from deep down, unfiltered experience pushing through. We need to listen to those body signals.
It connects to another Gestalt idea, right?
Yeah.
Figure and ground.
Exactly. So the suitcase scenario. The figure, the thing that grabs your attention, is the pain of her leaving, bright and sharp.
Okay.
But the ground, the background, that might hold all sorts of other things. Her own pressures, her struggles, society's expectations back then, things you didn't see as a child.
So shifting focus. Looking at the whole picture, the ground.
It loosens the grip of that one single story. It adds complexity, nuance.
Which leads to this interesting take on responsibility.
Yeah, in Gestalt, it's not about blame at all. It's about owning your experience.
Meaning?
Recognizing, okay, I didn't choose what happened to me, but I do have a choice in how I interpret it now and how I respond now.
Taking responsibility for the story I'm telling myself about it.
Exactly. That's where the power lies. It makes you an active creator of meaning, not just a passive recipient of the past.
And then there's how this plays out in relationships, this dance of contact and withdrawal.
How often are we really with the person in front of us, truly seeing them now?
Versus interacting with our ghost of them, or ghosts of other people from our past.
Right. When do you pull back in relationships? Why? What fears, what old beliefs are running that show? It's worth exploring.
And all this leads to embracing uncertainty, which feels counterintuitive.
Totally. We crave certainty. But that space of not knowing, of questioning our own truths, that's actually where the magic happens.
The gift of uncertainty.
It breaks us out of that prison. Certainty feels safe, but it's closed. Curiosity, uncertainty, that's open, full of potential for something new.
Okay, so we've looked at the prison. Now, how do we pick the lock?
Yeah.
How do we start re-editing that old movie of our life?
I love that metaphor. The life story as a movie we've seen a million times.
Yeah.
The parry comes when you realize you have the remote control. You can't change the scenes that were filmed, the actual events.
But you can change your relationship to them, how you frame them, how they affect you now.
Exactly. And part of that can be, well, asking questions.
But asking differently, right? Not accusatory.
No, with real curiosity, like genuinely wanting to understand. Imagine asking a parent about a tough time in their life when you were young.
That takes courage, vulnerability.
Huge vulnerability, but it can open up completely new understandings, deeper connection, maybe.
It also highlights the power of presence. just being fully here, now.
When you're truly present with someone without all the armor from the past.
You connect differently, authentically.
And your own feelings in the present moment become clues, guides to maybe what's still unresolved, what needs attention.
And recognizing complexity, that's huge.
Oh yeah, the gift of complexity. Realizing everyone, even people who hurt us, they're not just one thing.
They have their own stories, their own struggles, their own glasses of time.
Moving beyond that single, simple story about them, it frees us from those limiting boxes.
Then there's this idea of actually completing the cycle.
Which doesn't mean forgetting or erasing, it's more about integration.
How do you do that?
By allowing the feelings that maybe weren't felt back then. Sadness, anger, fear, whatever it was, expressing what wasn't said. Finding some sense of resolution within yourself.
There's that exercise suggested.
Yeah.
Talking to your younger self.
Yeah, imagine going back to that difficult memory and speaking to the child you were. Offering comfort, understanding, validation. It can be incredibly healing. Self-compassion.
And doing this inner work, it doesn't just stay inside, does it?
No way. There's a ripple effect. Healing your relationship with the past changes how you show up now.
Less reactivity, more openness.
Exactly. More capacity for real connection, more authenticity. The ripple spread outwards into your life today.
But even with all this work, there's still going to be mystery, isn't there?
Always. Some things about the past, about other people's motives, we'll just never fully know.
And maybe that's okay?
More than okay. Maybe it's an invitation to wonder, to humility, to accept that life and people were bigger than any one story we can tell.
It's about learning to live with the question sometimes.
Beautifully put.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it feels like the key takeaway isn't about finding perfect answers or rewriting history.
No, it's more about embracing the process, the ongoing exploration, staying present, questioning.
And recognizing that power we have. The power to shape our relationship with everything that came before.
Absolutely. It's encouraging you, the learner, to really value the journey itself. Find the meaning in the discovery, not just in reaching some final resolution.
Because ultimately, you're not stuck with the old stories. You're not defined by them.
You're the storyteller. You hold the pen.
You get to decide what comes next. What will your next chapter look like?